Resident Evil is a franchise that has spanned over many main numbered titles, as well as many spin-offs at this point as well. It's on almost every device conceivable, from mobile gaming all the way up to the big boys on PC. Now, Resident Evil has innovated its design on some of the more peculiar games in the franchise and took a very different direction. So I thought today, instead of giving you some information or analysis, I'd tell you what I personally think would make an absolutely phenomenal and fantastic Resident Evil game that I think everyone in the fan base could enjoy, and it would have elements for absolutely everyone. And I know that's a big statement to make, so without any further delay, let's just get into it and we'll see if you actually enjoy this idea. So we'll start off with the kind of game design and foundation and framework that I think would make a great game. So sandbox games are pretty interesting. Some of them come out with some very generic features. They don't really have the best open world experience. There's not too much to do. And then there's others where there's like all sorts to do, but it's too repetitive. But some of them do manage to get it down just right, and it's absolutely amazing when they do. And one of these examples that I'm going to give is Prototype, because it's a pretty damn interesting open world game, and this is what I would actually want to base my Resident Evil game on to a degree. And the reason being, and why Prototype is so unique, is for an open sandbox game, it has an infection where there's people that get infected and turn into creatures, and this slowly pans out over the period of the game's progression and gets worse and worse, and more of the city obviously gets infected as time goes on. And you even see the breakdown in neighborhoods with fires in the area, destroyed cars, everything just looks trashed. And it's absolutely amazing how it transitions from the start of the game being absolutely normal to the end where everything's just abysmal. And I'd like this to be explored in a zombie game. I've never really seen a game that goes from day 1 where everything's normal all the way to like day 300 where everything's dead. And of course, Capcom is one of the leading entrepreneurs when it comes to innovation in the zombie genre. So I was thinking, if we could get Capcom to make an open sandbox environment, they'd probably be able to make it pretty damn interesting if they put a hell of a lot of effort into it with R&D Team 1, because they seem extremely competent with the development of Resident Evil 7 and Remake 2, and I think they could make an absolutely fantastic and immersive environment that has lots to do and is also extremely creepy while being open world. I mean, just look at Resident Evil 7 and 2's environments, the atmosphere and the enemies. It's always like you're on edge. Now imagine starting out on day 1 when nothing has actually happened yet. There's no zombies, everyone's going on as normal, and the setting is Raccoon City. You're just strolling around at the start, everybody's happy, it's just a really positive time. And then of course, slowly, society starts to collapse as the infection spreads throughout, the city gets quarantined off, and you're locked within, having to survive in this horrific environment. And it would be really cool seeing all of the chaos, seeing everything break down. You see all of the government and authority slowly breaking down, civilians going into riots, etc., and people going and shooting each other for supplies. And of course, this would make a very interesting game with zombies roaming the city en masse too. And if they could pull this off, it would just be one of the most spectacular games possible. But we'll explore some of the other things that would make it even more interesting, because we all love a good story, and especially in an open world environment. And I think Capcom could pull off a damn good job at a really serious story with a character that progresses through even in the sandbox environment. And of course, you'd have to have the certain missions timed to the infection rate, but just slowly having to survive until you get to those points, and then having a story unravel as you play through the game would just make it absolutely amazing. And this means it could be tailored for a single player or a multiplayer experience, and everyone would have the freedom of choice to choose exactly what they wanted. It would also be really cool being able to visit some of the early infected environments, seeing how the zombies are roaming around the streets, cars on fire, how the city is breaking down, and then say get in a car and travel back to one of the safer sides of the city, and it's still relatively clean. People are still worried about what's going on, but things are still functioning to some level, and you just slowly see that chaos and all of the fires, the broken down cars, businesses and houses being destroyed, and all of that take over the city bit by bit as the game progresses. I mean, this just sounds fantastic to me already. And I know Raccoon City is one of the most beautiful places that people really just want to go around the streets, kind of see what it's like in a Grand Theft Auto style sandbox environment so that you can see every single street. And it'd be just awesome having no blockades, zombies roaming around everywhere wildly, having some things like lickers roaming the streets, just absolutely terrifying as you go through all of the environments, and even having some side quests and things like, say, a child that's in a locked garage that needs help because they're being barraged by zombies. You could set up some really climatic situations and dramatic ones with this idea. Now, if you added in a lot of side content to do, such as clearing safe houses out, helping people, that actually adds to the canon and story and expands on the universe and lore in ways we haven't even seen before, added some of the nostalgic environments we already know of, like the Raccoon City Police Department, all of these things, they'd make a fantastic game. If we just filled that Raccoon City open world environment up with a hell of a lot of story, to the point that even buildings themselves are considered a character, then we will have one hell of a game. And I just hope that Capcom one day does this. And the reason I'm saying this is, I guess I do see Capcom possibly making an open world game one day. I mean, it's kind of become a big thing in the industry overall, and Capcom is obviously aware of this. So whether they'll do this one day, we'll just have to wait to see. But I do have some good hope for this. What do you think about this idea anyway? And do you think it'll ever happen as well? Let me know in the comments below. And I guess that's all for now. I just wanted to tell you guys what my idea was for this game that I've been envisioning for a while. I just hope you're having a beautiful day. As always though, guys, take it easy and peace.